Hello, hello, beautiful people. Today I wanted to talk about yaza during the sesshin, and I'm going to talk about what it is, how to do it, pitfalls to avoid, and how I personally do it with some tips and tricks, which will hopefully enable you to have a wonderful sesshin. Yaza is a Japanese Zen word for doing nightly meditation, and just generally excuse me, traditionally in Japan, after all the meditation is done during the day, it is required that everybody do at least 1 hour, if not longer, of yaza, which is the nightly meditation. The reason why this is recommended is that you kind of push yourself a little bit extra beyond what you're able to. And as people have different way of practice, it enables them to do it on their own time. You can rest a little bit and do yaza, but also you can usually you can wear what you want. You can sit wherever you want and do yaza. Very often people take their meditation mat and put it on a covered porch in the Zen monastery and do their hour of yaza. Or you can do walking meditation as yaza. That's something that most people don't are not aware of. Yes, a walking meditation, kinhin, is considered yaza. So if you feel tired and you want to do some more meditation, you can always do the kinhin as a form of yaza at the Zen center during your sesshin or at home. So traditionally, I know about one Zen center in Japan where the teacher, who's in his late 80s, will personally come out at 11 o'clock at night and make sure everybody's doing their yaza. However, in my experience in North America, because the teachers realized that people do have a life, and not most of the people that are at sesshin do not live at a monastery. So it's not as strictly enforced as in Japan per se. So there is a little bit of flexibility in when you do yaza and if you do it during sessions in North America and Europe. So how to do yaza? Basically, you do yaza wherever you feel comfortable, right? As I mentioned already, you can have a little bit of stretch, a little bit of rest, and sit the yaza. You can sit outside and watch the beautiful luminous stars in the sky and do yaza. You can sit on the porch and do yaza. You can stay at the zendo, at the meditation hall, and do yaza. You can do kinhin, walking meditation, and do yaza. Um, you can do pretty much anywhere that you um, feel compelled to do it. The idea of yaza is to push yourself just a little bit further. And the one thing that I wanted to point out is that you don't have to kill yourself doing yaza. Yes, there are people that stay up and do yaza all night, but you don't have to. The idea of yaza is just to do what you can at any given time. I always say do the best you can wherever you are with whatever you have. So it is important to notice that sometimes less is more. I was talking to a Zen practitioner who was living and practicing at a famous Zen center in Japan, and he told me, look, less is more. Sometimes 15 minutes of doing genuine yaza is better than 45 minutes of trying to stay awake at 10, 11 o'clock at nighttime when you have to get up at 3:20 in the morning. So please be kind to yourself. It's you just do whatever you can and feel content and go to bed. The other thing I wanted to mention is yaza is not a competition. When you're at the sesshin, you see experienced people, people that lived in the monastery for 20 years, people who have 30 years of experience, do long hours of yaza because they have built up the practice through all those decades. You are wherever you are. As a matter of fact, if it's your first sesshin in North America, I wouldn't even worry that much about yaza. I would just focus on the practice during the set hours. If you feel like doing it, do it, but don't feel compelled that you have to like really push yourself beyond everything and do yaza. If you want to do it, that's fine. But the idea is just to lean over what you're comfortable with, and that's very often enough. So, like I said, it's not a competition. I would not focus on what other people are doing. Just do with whatever you can, and um, and just do your best. The other thing that I wanted to say, and that's my advice to you. Once you settle into more sessions and get more experience, feel more at home, I would highly recommend to find your own rhythm. Find your own rhythm, what works for you. Your rhythm is different if you're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old than when you're 50 years old, 60, 70, and even 80. There are people at the session in their 80s. So find your rhythm, see what works for you, right? For me, I figure out what my rhythm is. There's a certain time that every night during session I go to bed. I don't care how well I'm doing. It's my time to go bed. I go to bed um, at my regular Zen center because I find out even if I stay 20 minutes or half an hour longer to do yaza, yeah, it might feel good, but in the morning I will pay for it. I will be tired and my practice will suffer. So just find your own rhythm. See what's best for you, what works for you. Me personally, I go to two or three different Zen centers. One is my teacher's, which is practically my home, and the other one is my teacher's teacher, who practices at two different Zen centers. And I will tell you, at the bigger ones where there are about 100 people or 75 people, I don't do yaza. And here is my tip: in those places, I do not do yaza at all. I go to bed as soon as I can, brush my teeth, jump in the bed, rest in the morning, get up whenever I can, whenever everybody else gets up. I don't get up earlier than I have to. But what I do is I do yaza, or I don't even know if it's called yaza or not, but I do extra sitting during every single resting period. There are two resting periods. One is after lunchtime before teisho, and the other one is in the evening after dinner. Um, I do yaza. I do a lot of sitting. I do around 2 hours of extra sitting because I feel comfortable doing it then because that's what my rhythm is. And what I like about it is when I do it during the rest periods. First of all, the zendo is pretty much empty. Maybe there might be one or two people towards the end of it, but also I can rest whenever I want to. I can do kinhin whenever I want to. I can get up and stretch whenever I want to. So I love doing that, and that really works. Does wonders for me. At my regular place, because I have my own bed, I don't have to sleep in a tent. I do stay up longer, and I do yaza up to a certain period, and then it's bedtime for me. I just want to emphasize finding your rhythm and doing what's best for you, and not trying to kill yourself doing zazen unless you want to. My teacher tells a story about when she was doing her Zen practice and she was quite advanced. She would stay up 3 nights in a row sometimes and do yaza without sleep. And then she met somebody else who was there as well, another lady who would sleep every single chance she would get. If it was a break, she would be snoring on her bed or on a cushion or wherever. She would just get a rest, sleep as much as she wants to. And then, lo and behold, during that very same session, the lady that I just mentioned had a Kensho experience. Yes. So my teacher went, that's interesting. I don't have to um, really force myself to have a Kensho. If I relax and find my rhythm and do what's best for me, I can have a Kensho as well. So I just wanted to leave you with that story because finding your own rhythm, focusing on what's best for you, what your practice needs of you, is the most important thing. To me, my practice is a living thing. I just see what my practice needs, and I do whatever I can to accommodate that. So sometimes it's rest time, going to bed early. Sometimes it's staying up late. Um, and usually during the last night, I go to bed super early and I get up super early. Regular time, maybe even earlier than that, at 4 o'clock, maybe earlier. And I do my yaza then, because I find if I go to bed early instead of staying up and talking to people and getting up early, I have the best zazen I ever had during that sesshin. You're relaxed. You're just take the juice out of all the practice you've done all week. So that is it. Also, keep in mind that most of the enlightenment stories and Kensho stories that I have read, most of the people had their awakening experience during, you guessed it, yaza. The famous Zen master Hakuin, when he was still a novice, or a student rather, he had his first Kensho awakening experience in Rinzai when he was doing yaza. I think it was the last night of a sesshin and he was staying up. And I think it was at midnight or the morning bell that when the bell rang, which they do traditionally in Japanese towns to this day very often, he had an awakening experience. And Roshi Kapleau, whose book I read not too long ago, talks about how he stayed up one night, the last night of a sesshin, I believe it was, maybe not, and he had a awakening experience by staying up all night. So when you feel the call for it to stay up late, it might be a good thing to do. So I'm mentioning that to emphasize the importance of yaza. Yaza has been amazing, and it's a very important part of the practice. So there you have it. If it's your first sesshin, I wouldn't worry too much about yaza. You do whatever you can. Less is more. Sometimes 15 minutes of zazen has a tremendous positive um, uh, is a very good thing for your practice. I would not focus on what other people do. I would just focus on myself because only you know what's best for you, and just do the best you can with whatever you have at any given time. So here we go, folks. Here we have it. I hope this will help you with your yaza and your Zen practice in general. And as always, if you have any question, just drop me a line and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for your time and talk to you next time.